Hey guys, want to bring you another YouTube on the top 5 reasons why you should move to Las Vegas, Nevada if you have a family. And this is based on personal experience and why my wife and I decided to raise our family here. Again, I know most people would think or only think about Sin City and then the Strip and then also conventions. Those are mostly the same. Most people think of tourism, but there's actually a lot of things that it offers. But I wouldn't say it is going to be for everyone. Again, this is based on if you have a family and if these things could fall in place depending on where you're coming from. So, number one, I would say the cost of living. Again, this is not, I would say, the cheapest place, but where we were coming from, it is considered cheap. We did live in the Bay Area. I grew up in California most of my life. Again, this is actually a lot cheaper than California. And then we were in the Portland, Washington border, like the Portland, Oregon, and Washington borderline, a city called Vancouver, Washington. So that area is actually pretty pricey now. So this is where we cost of living. Um, Gas is cheaper here for us compared to California. If you think about gas in Oregon, it's about the same. Same for Washington. But just like Oregon is kind of progressing towards more taxes, that's on the gas. So they might be more like California eventually on adding more taxes on their gasoline. And then the housing, it's a lot cheaper here again. Um, what is ironic, but everything works for a reason, happens for a reason. So if we went straight here from California, um, honestly, we would probably not have a mortgage. But again, um, it's still much more affordable compared to Portland. It's gone quite a bit. And I actually have more of the numbers and breakdown. I'll attach the blog, but I'm just giving you the top 5 reasons here on this type of video, and some of the details. But I break down more of the numbers and how it works out for these 5 reasons too. It will be in the description for our blog on the top 5 reasons because I've noticed it is a trend. People are asking about it. Kids, especially with everything going on, people are moving away from big cities, and especially if you saw one of my other videos about the wealth tax and the income tax raises in California that they're potentially considering. That's where just trying to help anyone that's coming from or thinking from California or even New York or New Jersey. Those are some big cities that or states thinking of fleeing from there. So number two, I would say the school ratings. Now, I wouldn't say it's best schools, but I'm just saying based on my family situation and where we were. Um, we lived in the East Bay, uh, and when we had our daughter, the school system was already in my mind because I usually try to plan out 5, 10 years ahead on where I could see my goals for our family, business, income, work, everything. And so I knew that either at the time the business would have to do well or I would have to get a really great paying job that could get us in the best parts of the Bay Area. Now, for this same type of house that you could get or area where we're at in Vegas, you would have to spend close to $1 million for the Bay Area to get that nice school for the public school. And they have good charter schools too out here in Vegas. So as long as your kids have good grades. So now when we were in Portland, Vancouver, they had this small town called Ridgefield. It had good schools, but within the 2, 3 years, by the time we were ready to leave and tired of that area, the school ratings were going down. So, not sure what happened there with the school ratings, but pretty much that whole area was starting to go down. But so, from what we were talking to other people, they were saying you would more likely have to send your kid to like private school. And so, well, actually, let me take this back. There was a city called Camas that is next to Vancouver, Washington. Now, the houses out there was about $500,000. So, to get the same school ratings out here for Vegas. So, compared to where you're at here, it's almost half of that price. So, again, I broke that down on the numbers wise on how much you would have to spend to get into the school system here. Um, and this is based on the same school ratings again. So then number three, I said income tax and it's business friendly. So I also, like I said, I work, um, and so during the day, again, there's no state income tax here. And then with my wife and I, there's no business like it's very business friendly. So business license is cheaper than California. It's about the same for Washington for license and fees and all that. But and again, there's no income tax for Washington in that sense. But since I was working in Oregon, their income tax was just as high or almost as high as California. So that was another issue there. So overall, for double whammy, I would say if you're either way, if you're going to have your own business, even if you're doing Uber or Lyft, being self-employed, or if you're working for a company, either way, there's no income tax and it's very business friendly on your taxes that way. Um, and there's less regulations too in that sense, um, before everything happened again, unless right now what is there certain industries that's hurting right now out here, yes, but that's like everywhere else. More of the bars, restaurants, if you're in that industry, yes, that would be harder. But everything else, if you're in tech or anything like that, doing anything tech related, e-commerce, internet, that's more where you're going to have, where you're not going to be, it's more business friendly in that sense. Number four, there's lots to do here in the location. I would say for my family, you're we're still close to family. 4 hours to drive to see my sister in LA or friends there. To see my parents, Fresno is about 7 hours, and then if I want to go to the Bay Area, it's probably better to fly if you want to, but you could take a road trip there. It's still going to be about, I would say, 8.5 hours. I would say I could probably get there. Um, but if you want to go Lake Tahoe, it's not that far. You could go to Utah, Salt Lake City is about 6 hours. Phoenix is about 4 hours. Grand Canyon is about 4 hours too. Um, what else is there? Uh, San Diego is about 4 hours. So 4.5, I would say. So there's a lot of places, and then you could. There's international flights. There's cheap flights because it's a tourist city, so it's cheap to fly in and out. And then again, there's lots to do, like Circus. They have like an amusement park type of deal for the kids. There's water parks out here. There's lots of parks out here for the kids. Ideally, not during summer because it's so hot. Um, but again, there's a lot for the kids. There's a lot of museums actually, which I was surprised. There's a lot of hiking trails. That's another thing most people didn't know about. You're not too far from Zion Park. So skiing and snowboarding, if you want to go, it's about 45 minutes from here. I'm Mount Charleston, so that's not that far. If you wanted to go again to ski or snowboard, Salt Lake City, it's right there too, where the Winter Olympics would happen before. Again, Lake Tahoe also it's right there for great skiing there, heavily. So there's a lot of different places for that if you're into that in the outdoors. And then number five, I would say, um, again, this is where I was coming from, and so there's less crime and homeless, I would say, compared to California, and even Portland. There, and even you could watch the news. I mean, with everything happening in Portland, again, that's where I think you don't see as much out here. But just like every city, yes, you do have homeless, you do have crime, but I don't see it as much here. I would say if I do see the homeless, it's more because it's so hot. They're probably usually in shelter somewhere, or they're usually certain locations that we know of, like a homeless camp, but that's like not even close to where we live. It's usually like one concentrate area, unlike the Bay Area or LA, or Portland. They're all spread all over the city. So you can't really enjoy the city or to the beach and stuff like that if you're going to be fearful if you could be attacked or be robbed or anything like that. And you can even find other YouTube videos talking about that too. That's what's happened with California and Oregon, specifically Portland, Oregon. So I just feel like it's safer out here where we live and better quality of life. Now, again, we did look at Texas. We did look at Florida. So those were the two other states we were looking at. But another bonus, and I think that's another reason, was that the location, like I said, helped because of my family and her family. My wife's family's here now. I would say bonus, why we didn't also, we prefer the dry heat, and we didn't want as much rain because we were dealing with a lot of rain and winter weather in Portland. So we were actually happy more with the sunshine. It's more almost like, I would say, yes, you get more of the four seasons here, but you get more sunshine. You don't get as much rain, of course. It does get windy, but I prefer this type of weather. Now, of all the places we live, I would say the Bay Area's weather is the best. I would say Los Angeles too, but even now that they have like the fires and stuff, that's even not as great air quality and everything. So, especially if that's going to continue to happen in California with the fires continuing to burn, because some days even here, the wind or the smoke actually gets pushed here to Las Vegas sometimes. So again, I think it was a great move for our family where we're at right now. Now, if things again turns differently and becomes like California or Portland, Oregon, then that's where we would probably consider. That's where we would probably look at Texas or Florida. As long as, again, if you do plan on moving wherever however you see things, again, you just want to make sure that while you're leaving, you want to make sure that the policies or agenda is not going to be the same wherever your new home is. So again, hopefully you like, share, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.